The Chicago business scene is as diverse as the city itself. But we don't always hear from the entrepreneurs who keep the Chicago economy colorful. That's where I come in. I'm Micaela Brown, and this is the Minority Report. Breaking into the wedding business could be a daunting task, but when one door closed, Akeshi Akinseye opened another and started Kesh Events. Now, she works across the country planning weddings and events. I met up with her to talk about how she maneuvers in such a competitive space, working with players from the Packers, and dealing with Bridezillas. When most people think of weddings, we just think of the party, but we don't think of the logistics behind it and that it's such a big industry.
Absolutely.
How do people make money planning weddings?
We're paid for our time and expertise. What we do here is planning and design. Flowers are a big deal, as you know, with Pinterest or Instagram. Every bride has a collection of photos they want for their wedding.
How would you say things like Pinterest and social media have affected your business? Is it positive or negative?
Good and bad. Good in the sense like I know who you are. Bad in a sense when your budget is A and your Pinterest is B. So we have to kind of meet at C.
Right.
To give you that look. That's the tricky part. But it's great because it helps me understand who the bride is, her style, her colors. And brides are very visual. They want to see everything. If they could see their wedding day done before the wedding day, they would.
When you graduated college, you're in the workforce. What made you decide to just go into business for yourself?
Well, after college, I had my, what do I do now, right? And we automatically just jump into a job that gives you a paycheck. That's the norm. So I worked for this company for 5 years, and I was doing really well. I was one of their top associates. And it was a Friday just like this, and we had a meeting, and they're like, we're gonna let you guys go. No notice, that was it. So that's when my light bulb went off, and I said, what do you want to do? It's not a question of talent, it's more fear. So I literally cashed out my 401k. I took all the money that I had, and I said, I want to go into this business.
What makes you different?
I think for one thing, the passion. I don't want to run my business like everyone else is doing it. I want it to be very personal and unique and embrace different people of different cultures. I don't want to limit myself to one particular race or culture. I want to show unity, and the goal here is to provide a dream. And people tend to just do what they think everybody else is doing, and that makes you look like the same. So I want to make sure we do the opposite.
So you've done some wedding for some pretty great Packers players, which we need to convert you over to the Bears, but how did you land such big names and relationships like that?
The first bride found me on the knot, and I'd given her a call, and she was like, I haven't talked to anybody else, so I'm just gonna go with you, and I like you. And we went dress shopping at Demetrius Bridal, and her girlfriend came with her, and she was like, I'm engaged. And I'm like, when is your wedding? And she was like, I think June next year. And I'm like, who's your planner? She was like, no one. I'm like, do you have a venue? She was like, no. I'm like, oh my gosh, we have to start now.
What's some advice that you would give an aspiring event planner?
Know who you are. It's so saturated. You have to define who you are in the industry, who your target market is, because you can't cater to everybody. And two, you have to brand yourself correctly, because branding is key. These brides don't know you, so the first time they go on your website, they kind of have an idea of who you are from your branding. So if your website is not professional, you don't have your picture on there, I think it kind of turns them off a little bit. People tend to copy from what they think is successful, but you have to be you.
Have you ever been in a situation where you had to tell someone, no, I don't want to do business with you?
Absolutely.
Tell me about that.
Well, I think that not every bride is for you. There's that voice when you meet someone and you know it's not your client, and you see some red flags, and you're like, I can work with it. So I did that once, and this is a lesson, and I think after 8 weeks of just pure torture. And she was like, seriously, the biggest pain in the ass in the world. And I knew from the start that was not my bride. So we had to part ways. We refunded all the money back. I just wanted her to be happy. But I knew for a fact that it just was not my bride. It's just, as a business owner, you have to pick and choose your pain. And that was not mine.